Good morning, my fabulous, fabulous Sonder fam. Happy Sunday morning. I was just saying in the chat, here in Denver, it was 72 degrees yesterday and quite lovely and sunny this morning. We have 20 degrees and probably a couple inches of snow. I heard the storm blow in last night about 1 o'clock in the morning. It woke me up and it was like, first it started out as kind of rain and then it was freezing rain and then it was snow. But hey, that's springtime here in Colorado. We'll be at 80 degrees, I think, on Wednesday. So sure, why not? It just makes it a little bit tricky trying to figure out what to wear. I got all the layers going on. I got my warm red hoodie. My husband calls this my little Red Riding Hood outfit because it's got like a little hood. Um, anyway, so trying to stay warm this morning, but hopefully folks are staying warm, staying safe. I saw a lot of folks talking about some thunder snow. People were getting some storms going. It's just, yeah, so I'm sure if you're on the East Coast, this is headed east, so who knows. And yes, we are in week 3 of the month already in March. I don't know how that happened. So thanks for playing along with my little What's Your Feral Spring side quest. I was the smuggling stinky snails, which I saw several other people were doing. I thought that was kind of fun from the little cozy nerdy things on Instagram. So always kind of fun to take a look at that. Do want to make sure to mention that you want to make sure you set that chat to everyone, that little blue box. It has an obnoxious tendency in Zoom to keep flipping back to host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people that can see what you write are myself and my fabulous co-host, Bailey, who is coming to us from Tennessee. And hopefully she's having decent weather. But because I know they had some snow and rain, and you just never know, right? Also, just a few other little housekeeping tips to remind everyone this is a safe and supportive space. So we're kind and courteous to both ourselves and to others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's always fine to ask about, like, what pins do you use that don't bleed, or maybe where people got stickers. But honestly, the best place to ask those questions is in the Sonder Club app, so folks can post pictures and links and all those good things. And then remember, any of those customer care inquiries all go to our headquarters team, hello@silkandsonder.com. Bailey and I do not have access to your accounts. We can't fix addresses or update credit card billing information, switch you over from a monthly subscription to a yearly subscription. We can't do any of that. So, and nor would we necessarily want to. So that hello@silkandsonder.com. And then remember, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have a fabulous community, super supportive. But then remember, ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that we're doing that is just not your jam, you're just not feeling it, do what you need to do for you, right? You have carved out this hour so that you can spend some time in your journal, but maybe you just want to hang out in the chat and chat. Maybe you just want to listen to the vibes. Maybe you just want to kind of like have a space where you can kind of get away from everything else and just do a little breathing, right? And that's okay, right? So do what you need to do for you. I did want to mention page 39 is the currently page. So we have this every month. Oh, thank you. Nicole says, I'm always her jam. We have that currently page. Some folks are like, what am I supposed to do with this? What do I put in here? So really, it's just that idea of a quick check-in, a little like a little snapshot in time of what's going on with things like, what are you loving? What are you feeling? Enjoying, anticipating, wishing, reading, watching, and planning. And I will say some folks like to do this 3 times a month. They have at the beginning on line 1, then they do mid-month on line 2, which is today. Today's the 15th. And then the third line is the end of the month. So it totally is up to you how you want to use this page, but it's a nice place. It's a nice little check-in. It's also good sometimes when you go to the next month and doing the setup to kind of remember, like, oh, where was I in the middle of the month? What kinds of things, was I reading? Was I watching? In anything like that. Yeah, Amy, I had not thought of that either, but somebody was like, well, there's 3 lines, so I can check in 3 times. And I was like, brilliant. So again, everyone has such great ideas for how to use it. And I did want to put the little meme there. Spring is, I believe, on Friday is the first day of spring. So even though we've had kind of spring-like weather most of the winter season, but it's still exciting to think spring is coming and all the fun things that come with spring. And I know lots of folks are gardening and getting that ready. I know one of our facilitators, Jennifer O, down in Texas, she spent all day yesterday doing a lot of gardening out in the yard, and she said it was just so lovely. So yeah, so just that's kind of what that page looks like. So I just kind of wanted to mention that for y'all. And then hopefully you have been getting into the theme of change this month. I think it's a really good theme coming on the heels of belief, especially with that quote from Mel Robbins when she says, "You have the power to change your life. Just start with changing your thoughts." And I think that is such a good reminder that our beliefs are our thoughts and we can change those, right? And doing that helps us change our life. Sometimes it can be slow, sometimes it can be hard, sometimes it is not linear. Actually, probably most of the time it is not linear, right? Sometimes it can be a bit of a slog. It can be a little 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of thing, right? And that's okay, right? That is just what your journey looks like now, and it's okay. So just kind of thinking about how you can change your thoughts. And then remembering the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So really thinking about how can you build the new? How can you embrace the changes that are happening, and what does that look like? And then also remembering that any change, even a change for the better, always accompanied by discomforts, right? Change is just uncomfortable for people. It just is, right? I mean, we're creatures of habit. And even if it's a bad habit, we kind of get into that habit. And then when we change or we try to kind of switch things up, it can be a little tough at first, but fight through that scratchiness, right? Have the ability to show up, right? Sometimes, showing up is a big part of the battle. So we are glad you're here to work through all of this with us today. Our agenda for this morning is we're going to work on our change mind map for these weekly setups. We always spend a little bit of time at the beginning just digging into that theme of change and whatever the monthly theme is. And this will be week 3, and we'll show you when we get to that. And then we're going to do our rosebud thorn activity where we do a little bit of reflecting on the past week, and that's over on page 44. And then we'll do those weekly setup pages, which are on page 46 and 47. And I always show these 2 little cartoons to emphasize a couple of points. First one is there's room for you here just as you are. Sometimes we are up. Sometimes we have a lot of things to celebrate. We are excited. We are happy. We want to share fun things. And we are here for it. We love to celebrate with our Sonder family. But we know that life isn't always those ups, right? It's not always kittens and rainbows and happiness. Sometimes there's some sadness. Sometimes there's struggle. Sometimes there's a lot of struggle. And we're here for that too, right? So don't ever feel like, I don't want to bring everybody down, or I don't want to be so up that it, looks like I'm stressing other people out, right? We're here as we are. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to be someone else. We can be here as we are. And then the other one says the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So no one can tell us, oh, you shouldn't be mad about this, or you should be happy, or you shouldn't be stressed. Our feelings are our feelings, and the most important thing is that we're identifying them, and we're thinking about them, and we're allowing ourselves to sit with those feelings sometimes. And that can maybe not be fun, right? That can be uncomfortable, but that's where the growth happens. So we are glad you are here. We are all growing together. It's not, there's no end, right? There's no destination of like, yes, I am grown. All my growth is done, and here I am, right? That never happens. We're always growing. Even my mom, she's 81 now. She's 81, and she's always talking about how every day she learns something new. She's kind of growing. She's learning. The big thing I'm trying to teach her now is to stop clicking on all the links that she sees in Facebook, because she's getting all sorts of weird ads and things on her phone. But anyway, so just that idea of learning and being willing to put yourself out there, being willing to be vulnerable, to show up, to kind of work on things. And I know that a lot of folks have grown a lot since using Silk and Sonder, and that is what is great. So if you're new, welcome. If you're new, just put a little "I'm new," or put here, just put something in the chat and let us know that you're new. We want to make sure to welcome you. And I know sometimes that chat gets rolling really fast. We usually have upwards of 100 folks here. And you will notice a lot of times folks know each other, right? And that's okay. So I don't want you to feel like it's clicky, that you can't jump in and start chatting, please do. Everyone is very welcome and welcoming and very sweet, and very supportive. So just know you can, kind of hop in and participate in the chat. But if the chat stresses you out, you can always just close that out. You do not have to spend time in that. If you want to just kind of nose and journal and spend your time setting up, you absolutely can do that. So do what you need, take what you need from this time together. So let's work on our change mind map. If you have not done weeks 1 and week 2, do not worry. I will show you what the prompts are from those 2 weeks. Please know that you do not have to catch up. You do not have to do weeks 1 and week 2 before you do week 3. You're not behind. Nothing about the journal should ever be a source of stress. Like I would hate the thought that you feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything in my journal. It's already the middle of the month. That's okay. Just start right now, right? Yeah, Marissa's saying in the chat, there's no journal police. We are not going to knock on your door and give you a demerit if you have not filled in every single page, right? And I'm going to be honest, even as a facilitator, there's a lot of pages I don't necessarily fill in. And so don't feel bad. Again, this is here for you. It's like a buffet. It's a buffet of self-awareness and self-help. So you pick what you need from that buffet. Sometimes you need a lot of different things from the buffet. Sometimes you just want to go back to the one, your favorite thing, and use that. Really, it's just what you need, right? So that's important to remember that. So if you have got your setup going, you've got the 2 weeks, week 1 and week 2. Week 1, we reflected on change. Week 2, we talked about some positive changes. And now this week, we're going to talk about change as an opportunity, right? So we're going to think about a hard change that acted as a catalyst in your life. It could be something that's happening now. It could be something that happened in the past. It could be something that's even coming up in the future that there's this change that's going to happen. How did it lead to new opportunities or insights? And what did you learn about yourself? So I'll show you just a few little examples of how and when folks set things up. So one person did triangles because that's the Greek delta, and delta is about change. So they set it up with the triangles, which I think is lovely. Jen O, our other facilitator, she has these kind of translucent sticky notes where she writes the prompt on the sticky note and then she responds to it underneath in the little square of the blank page. This month, I decided to use page 25, which is the expense tracker, because I don't really track my expenses in my journal. I have an app where I do that. So I changed it into my mind map section, and it divides nicely into 5 sections. We will have a bonus mind map for the last weekend of this month. We don't always do a bonus mind map, but I always thought, even if we don't have a bonus mind map, sometimes it's nice to just give yourself a little space for some summary or end of month reflection. So I kind of divided it up there. So that worked out pretty well. And when I think about a hard change for me that acted as a catalyst, if you've been with me for a while, back last April, actually, my boss decided to eliminate my job. And I was welcome to apply for this new position she had created, which I did, but I was not selected, interestingly enough. And so my job ended on June 30th. I could have spiraled, right? I could have been really stressed. I'd been there for 16 years. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But the nice thing is, being with Silk and Sonder so long, I used all my tools in my toolbox to say, okay, this is an opportunity. I can find a new job. I can find a new place. I have a lot of skills. I did find a new job. It has a longer commute. It's 27 miles one way instead of 7 miles one way. But the opportunity came because I can listen to audiobooks. And it's been amazing. I've listened to over 20 audiobooks since August. And I almost look forward to hopping into the car. I say almost, right? Because it's like, oh, I could always listen to audiobooks at home. But it is nice to be able to listen to those audiobooks. 30 minutes one way. It's an hour to get home because of traffic. And so just knowing that I have that audiobook to listen to is great. And so I also learned about myself that I am resilient. I had several interviews with different places. I was able to kind of pick and choose what I wanted to do. And it's been really nice, but it was a hard change, right? It wasn't fun. I probably would have rather stayed where I was, even though that wasn't necessarily a great place. So sometimes that change is what we need, that catalyst, right? The universe, sometimes if we won't make the change, the universe makes it for us. So it was good. So I will be quiet. I will let you work on your section. I will kind of toggle between these two pages so that you can see that. Just think about that hard change that acted as a catalyst. How did it lead to new opportunities or insights? And what did you learn about yourself? So I will be quiet and I will play a little bit of music and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. All right. So I know that was a short amount of time, and a lot of you mentioned like, "Ooh, this is a deep topic, right? This kind of really hits," and it's supposed to, right? A lot of times these are some pretty meaty prompts that we have. So if you need to spend some more time later on today or throughout the whole rest of the week, really kind of thinking about it and writing that down, I think that's absolutely fine, right? And a lot of folks are talking about maybe some moves that they had to make when they had to move to a different, like if you had to move to a different town. A lot of you talked about jobs that ended, um, finding a new vocation, and then really kind of seeing how that helped you grow in ways that you hadn't really thought about. And I think, and someone had mentioned they were working with a therapist who told them that, trying to kind of scroll back and see what it was. She said, oh, she talked about she used to spiral about everything. And then a therapist told her that, think about it, it's just information, right? So she learned that she doesn't have to react to everything, learned that she can count on herself. Um, and I think that's really important too, right? Everything that happens, we don't have to immediately react. And sometimes we don't have to react at all. I really like, I think was it Brene Brown? I think that talked about the pause, the power of the pause, not PAWS, but PAUSE. Not kitty cat pause or puppy pause, but the pause of stopping and really thinking about it. And I try to do that because I catch myself reacting quickly, right? Something happens and I want to like there's that initial reaction, and trying to keep myself to like, okay, wait, stop. Let's think about that. Did they really mean it like that? Even if they did mean it like that, do I have to react in this way? Really giving yourself that moment to think about it. And I think that's one of the bad things about the internet is that it gives people the opportunity to share their initial reaction without that pause, and then they kind of can't take it back, and then it's just out there. And so sometimes that can tend to spiral in those ways. So really thinking about that. So I know a lot of you really kind of talking about that idea of, here's this thing that happened, and you can be upset about the change, you can be sad about the change, you can be kind of not happy, remorseful about, what's changing, but then know that, okay, there's something else and now it's time to move on. So give myself a little bit of time to absorb kind of the change and then move on. So thank you all so much for sharing in the chat those the changes opportunity, those hard changes, and how you've really learned a lot about yourself. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be thankful for the change, but I guess it's appreciated that I did get these new opportunities and insights. So that's good, right? So again, thank you all for sharing. And I saw folks talking about is it the Daring Greatly book where Brene Brown talks about the power of the pause or something like that. Anyway, and I've seen lots of other things talking about it too. So that is good. So let us move on to page 44, where we will reflect a little bit on this week that has just passed. And we are going to think about our rose, our bud, and our thorn. And somebody actually did this in one of our meetings the other day without me prompting it. There was somebody was like, let's do a rose, a bud, and a thorn for this particular activity. And I was like, oh my gosh, do they know about Silk and Sonder? Not that rose, bud, thorn is proprietary, but I thought that was kind of fun. So I always like to start with a thorn just to kind of get the obnoxious challenge, the irritation, the thing that was frustrating, the things I didn't have a lot of control over. I start with that just so I can get that out of the way. And for me, the daylight saving time it just wrecks me for about a week. Like my brain is not functioning, like it's too early, it's too like the sun's up but it's late, but it wasn't like that yesterday. It always just takes me a while to adjust, so I'm not a huge fan. I do like more sunlight later in the day, that is nice, but that would have happened eventually without the springing forward thing. So not a fan. Our bud is something that is an emerging opportunity, something you're excited about, something maybe that you have planned that's coming up. It could be something small, even like if you, yesterday was Pie Day. So I know some people were talking about their bud was they were going to have a piece of pie for Pie Day later on. So I think that was really fun. So we're having lunch with some friends this afternoon. Hopefully the weather will have calmed down a little bit so we can get out. We haven't seen these folks for a long time, so excited to go and see them and chat with them. And then our rose is a highlight, something that we've really enjoyed, something that we're proud of, something that we're happy about, something that's been fun. And so for me, I think I was telling you, I pretty much for a whole week I stayed off Instagram and Facebook. I only briefly looked a couple of times to see if anybody had messaged me about anything, but I really stayed off it, which allowed me time to finally set up our unofficial Silk and Sonder book club on the Fable app. I know there's like 91 of you on there now. and we are reading The Remarkably Bright Creatures, which has been super fun. We'll be reading that until April 8th, and then I'll probably set up a little impromptu Zoom call where we can talk about it, but you can obviously chat about it in the app. And I will say it is broken up into, it's unofficial, Alana, it's unofficial Silk and Sonder Book Club, um, but it is broken up by chapter, but you don't have to respond to every chapter. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And so that is in there. So Bailey dropped the link in there if you want to join Fable. It is free. It's a free app. They have like a pay part of it, but I don't understand what that is, but I don't pay for it. It's free. So you should be able to click the link. You might have to copy and paste the link to get to it. It is the app only, it only works in the app. I think you can do things on the computer, but you have to like be in the app, and you should be able to join. And it is a private group, so people can't just find it. You can't search for it. You have to have that link. So just know it's there. And if you are joining now, we just started the book last week, so it's absolutely fine. And if you read ahead, you can read ahead, right? It's all set up so there wouldn't necessarily be spoilers unless you clicked into the other chapters or there's like a wrap up conversation. So that has definitely been my rose, is connecting with all of you and reading this super fun book that I'm definitely enjoying. So I need to catch up on that today. So I will play just a little bit of music, let you work on your rose, your bud, your thorn. Feel free to share in the chat, and we will check back in here in just a few moments. I know that was really fast, but again, you can keep working on that. And thank you for everyone who shared the different things that are their rose, their bud, and their thorn. This is a great page to go back to when you do your monthly setup and you reflect back on the month. This is a nice little piece along with that currently page, just to help you kind of remember what did you do this month? That's my thing, is always I'm like, what did I do this month? This month went by so fast. And it's also a good idea sometimes to just scroll through your phone pictures just to kind of see what you snap pictures of, because that's always a good reminder for me. So thank you all for sharing in the chat your rose, your bud, and your thorn. But let's dive into that setup. Let us go to page 46 and 47. We're going to be thinking about, this is week 12 of the year, right? We're moving right along, and really thinking about this idea that change is not the problem, resistance to changes, and the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. And I like that idea of just kind of diving in with change and being like, okay, let's see what we got now. Let's see how this is going to change things up. So we're going to start with the this week I want to feel up at the top, and I'm going to talk about the how you want to feel along with your major 3 goals, the one that's right underneath it, because I think a lot of times if we can set our goals to, once we accomplish those, to then achieve the feeling that we want to feel, then that's a good that's a good combo, right? That's a nice aligned combo there. So this can be one word. This could be several words. It could be if you've got a word of the year, if you want to keep bringing that forward. If you liked your word from last week, it was really motivating. Maybe you want to bring that forward. Lots of different words here. We've got confident and alive and adventurous, abundant, wonderful. Maybe you want to think about, you want to feel more of one thing and less of the other. So you want to feel more rested and energized, less scattered and exhausted. And then, someone, and now her name escapes me, I don't know if you're here with us, but she does the cutest little drawings and the little alliteration of how she wants to feel. So one week she was a dynamic dragonfly, a nourished narwhal, a revitalized raccoon, a take action axolotl, a calm chicken, a persistent penguin, a disciplined dinosaur, motivated monkey. Super cute. I just thought that was just so cute. And you could do this with stickers too, right? But I thought that was just the cutest thing ever. I just thought that was just really sweet. Again, one word, enough. I want to feel enough. I want to feel happy. I want to feel delight. I want to feel loved. I want to feel refreshed. Yeah, I like the revitalized raccoon. And then thinking about the goals, right? I like this little quote about never give up on your dreams or your goals. More importantly, never give up on yourself. So maybe you want to set those goals. This is a good reminder to go look back at those March intentions that you set at the beginning of the month on page 9. If you did that, I will spend a lot of time setting those at the beginning of the month and then I never look at them again. So this is your reminder, my reminder to go back and look at those and see if there's anything I want to dig up in my goals to help me with those intentions and my feeling. Maybe you want to set those goals through the lens of change. Maybe you want to set up some no goals, like you want to tell yourself no alcohol, no doom scrolling, no more than a certain number of minutes on social media, no impulse spending, no takeout meals. Maybe you want to look at last week and see if there's any outstanding goals you want to bring forward. Maybe you want to frame those goals around a personal challenge, like a fitness challenge or a cleaning or decluttering. I'm doing lots of spring cleaning and getting rid of a lot of stuff that, trying to be a little more brutal about kind of sending stuff out of the house. We've lived in this house now for 23 years. And you collect a lot of stuff. So it's kind of like it needs to go. Yeah, Annie, good spring cleaning checklist. I'll show you one here. I think it might be later in the B side, but definitely have some in there. And here's her intentional iguana, the one who had all the other cute little things. So you want to be an intentional iguana by doing and stopping each of those things. So I think that's kind of a fun way to set that up if you have your little feeling and how you want to set it up. Again, sometimes for goals, people are like, I don't really do goals per se. I do maybe monthly goals, so I don't have anything here. Somebody just filled it up with these beautiful little stickers with the bees and the flowers and the lady with the hat, and I thought that was lovely. Could be something simple like breathe, move, and notice, and they have a fun little butterfly there. Maybe it's some favorite quotes. Maybe it's a podcast, movies, TV shows, books you want to read, some songs of the week. Maybe it's a mini bingo board. Maybe it's some things you want to delete, delegate, and delight, right? 3 things that you want to look at. So I will let you work on the goals and the feelings. I will play a little bit of music and then we'll check back in and we'll keep moving on. Right. And oops, I was absorbed in the chat and I realized, oh, I have not been advancing these slides. So hopefully, hopefully you got what you needed there. I was appreciated. Alicia was talking about that decluttering, right? And that whole like you become a pack rat and you have all this stuff. And I was talking about how last month with our beliefs, I was really kind of examining some of my beliefs about why I kept the things that I kept. And one of them was, and I had written these because what I did was I wrote down my belief and then I wrote down the truth, right? So my belief was I need to save this just in case. The truth was it was doubtful that case will ever come up. Just ditch the junk, right? And if something did come up where I really needed it, probably I could replace that if I needed to. But right now I need the space, right? I need to clear, and it's hard, right? But I have been very happy. I've thrown away some things that like some old candles that I was keeping because I was like, well, it's a nice little container and I could put something else in it. And then I'm like, I really don't need this. It's taking up space. Like, out it goes. Yeah. One of the other beliefs is that, well, I spent money on this, right? And it's like, yeah, but that money's gone and it's not coming back just by holding on to the thing. So what I really need to do is to not bring in any new things and clear out the other things. I feel like we need a whole social on, decluttering. Yeah, Pam, the old candle containers. Maybe I will suggest that we do a decluttering ideas and that kind of thing because yeah, like Bailey's saying, there's a cost to everything, right? So I already paid the money for it, but I'm keeping it and now it's taking up space and the clutter is like, oh, it's making my brain a little stressful. So let's go over to our to-dos and our habits and activities. I like to do those together because sometimes it kind of mixes up depending on what you're popping in there. So a lot of people like to do a fun bingo. Some people like to split it up for things they need to do for work and for home. I like the one they have, don't do this instead. I love the idea of giving yourself an alternative to the habit. So my alternative, I was not going to get on Instagram and Facebook. I was going to spend time setting up the Fable book club and reading the book, right? And I feel like that was way more valuable than endless scrolling, even though, I probably missed some cute cat videos and those kinds of things. Like it was much more fulfilling for me, right? So that's a good thing to kind of have that do this instead. Give yourself an alternative and see how that feels. One person set it up as weekly priorities that they had. One person put a lovely quote in there about gratitude. Some people like to think of it more as how I want to be. I want to be patient. I want to be kind. I want to be vigilant. I want to be honest. So having that more set up as the to be, making a list of not to do things that you can check off. Right? Like if you want to get more sleep, you want to stop listening to your inner critic, you want to move more, those kinds of things. Yeah, Emma's saying AI ruined cat videos. Yes, I know it's very frustrating to me because I'm like, is this a real pet or is this weird AI? Yet another reason to say bye-bye to Instagram and only be on there occasionally to look at. What I did is I wrote down some of the accounts that I specifically want to check to see if they've posted anything, like the one that I get the cute little the nerdy cozy things. And I search that, I go to her account, I look to see if there's anything new, and then I just like get off. So that I'm not tempted to scroll. And then our habits and activities. I love this idea of how to stick to your habits and achieve your goals. So thinking about defining your why, maybe that's a good to do this week is to define your why with those goals. Maybe you want to focus on progress, not perfection, right? We want to take it one day at a time. We use the 2-minute rule. So if something is going to take 2 minutes or less, just do it. That can save a ton of time instead of writing it down to do later and then it's stuck in your brain. You want to track and celebrate your effort here in your journal. Prepare the day before. That is key for me, is trying to, call it my closing routine. So it's about 8 o'clock. I put this is kind of in my habits and activities here. I will fill up my supplements for the next day. I will prep the coffee maker. I will kind of plan out my breakfast if I need to prep anything and kind of get it right there. I'll pack my lunch if I'm going into the office. And kind of clean up the kitchen, do the dishes, make sure the dishes in the sink are done. And then it's nice in the morning. I can come downstairs and be so happy that the last night Maya decided to make it nice for this morning Maya. You can see lots of other things that folks have done here. have their workout routine there with upper body, core, lower body, cardio, reaching a certain number of steps. One person has their food plan in there. So they're going to get 4 whole grains in each day, and they've divided each little circle into 4 so they can kind of fill it in. Did I get my whole grains? Did I get my protein and nuts, my veggies, my fruits, my low fat dairy? Kind of helping remember to get those nutritious foods in there to fuel our body. Maybe, and again, you don't have to fill in every single line, right? You can maybe just have one thing. You can bring things over from last week. And if this section is like a little too much, you can always just kind of fill it up with stickers and those kinds of things. Oops, I went too far. So I will let you work on that section, play a little bit of music, and I will try to remember to scroll through scroll through the slides this time so you can see them as we're chatting and looking in the chat. And then I'll check back in and we'll keep moving on. Okay, so hopefully you've got some ideas now for your to-dos and your habits and activities. If you are having trouble joining the book club, I can't really troubleshoot Fable. I'm not really sure what its issue is. You should be able to use that link and it should get you in there. You might have to set up an account first before you can click the link, but hopefully that will, and Bailey's popping that link back in there. You might have to copy and paste it or copy and paste into like a web browser instead of like on your phone. You might have to do it on the computer or vice versa. But hopefully you can get in. Usually people are able to get in eventually. So I apologize for that. Hopefully that will work. But yeah, you can't search it because I didn't want just anybody popping in. I wanted to keep it just our Silk and Sonder folks. So I did have to set it as private. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can get in there. Let's move over to our B side over on page 47. And we like to call it the B side because one of our fabulous facilitators, Katie, says, sometimes you listen to the A side, right, of the record and you never flip it over to the B. You don't necessarily want to hear those songs. But sometimes you're like, hey, I need some B-side. I need the alternative. So this is a good page. A lot of people repurpose, a lot of people find different kinds of um, ways to kind of think about kind of setting some of these areas up because we have a meal plan, a mind body health plan, a shopping list, and then that little I am loving section. So I'll show you some things that folks have done with the meal plan. Obviously, you can use it to plan your meals or you can use it to track your meals. You can track, let some people track like symptoms if they have migraines, allergies, those kinds of things. Maybe you want to use it as a wardrobe tracker or a packing list. Maybe you want to create your little decluttering challenge for yourself there on each day. Each day you're going to work on a specific area. Maybe it's the chore list, maybe it's a garden tracker. And then there's one person does meal plan for my soul. And then they ask themselves some questions. What are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? Who are 3 people I'm grateful for right now? What's draining my energy? So lots of different ideas for a little space. You have to write small if you're going to answer some of those questions. So for me, my writing is a little too big to try to do too much journaling in that area, but it is a nice little space. You could potentially do that daily ritual prompt in there when we have there on the Sonder Club app. Here's Ordinary and Happy. If you can follow them on Instagram, or you can also or you can sign up for their newsletter. So you get a daily newsletter that has like a daily list of things. It'll have like a morning song and like some different songs you can listen to. It'll have like some different challenges, some different kinds of things. But they've been doing the decluttering this month. And so this week is their bathroom edition. So they have today is toss any expired skincare, makeup, and other products. How many of us have mascara that we've had since before COVID sitting in our drawer? That probably needs to get tossed, right? Those things get some gross bacteria and it gets a little clumpy and you're not going to use it. So time to check out that stuff, that old expired stuff and do a little refresh. And then Monday is consolidate those duplicates, organize the bathroom storage area, tidy the shower product area, organize towels and replace old ones. And the best thing to do if you are going to get rid of some old towels is to take them to an animal shelter. They are always looking for some towels to help with when they have to clean up those poor little babies and get them all clean and ready for adoption. So they love when you send old towels. So I usually try like once a year to kind of go through, get rid of those ratty old towels, buy some new ones for myself, and take those old ones to the shelter, and they always appreciate that. Also organize bathroom cleaning products, clear the counters, right? So lots of different ideas. Yeah, and blankets as well for that. You could do a little drawing. You could keep your little appointment schedule there. Lots of other ideas for things folks have done. Word of the day, some quotes, some workout plans, just a little reflection in there. Your basic to-dos for each day is another really good idea of things to use. Then our mind body health plan. Some people will write different things they want to do for each day. So the one down on the bottom left, they're going to go to a movie. They're going to text a friend. They're going to wash their hair on Wednesday. They're going to thank a mentor, work on fitness, serve others, start fresh. They have things for each little day. One person, they have 4 things: strength, yoga, walk, and other. And then they drew a little line for what they did each day as they worked on that. Today's mood is to be determined. Put a fun little sticker there, right? Fun little way to do that. A bingo. We do love a good bingo. Some mood music. They have a different song for each or album for each day that they want to listen to. So that's a great way to do that. Keep it fun. They have some different fun things that they could do to pick for that. Feel and need, how you're feeling, things that you need. If you do Wordle, there's a clean one down on the bottom where they're going to clean different areas of the house. How did I nourish my mind, body, and soul? And they have a little table there. The national days, each day is a national something day. Like yesterday was Pie Day. I don't know what today is, but you can always just Google National Day of, and you can get a little calendar there and put something in if you want to observe that. Just various things for your mind and your body. right? Face mask, read a book, hair routine, shop decor. Um, put a fun little quote there: everywhere, love is all around. And then our shopping list, obviously, you can use it as a shopping list, but you could also do a bingo. You could keep track of your nighttime routine. You could make a packing list. You could do pop in a if you do like a tarot card or an oracle card. Oh, is today Kansas Day? But see, that's confusing if it's Kansas Day, but then the actual Kansas Day is January 29th when Kansas became a state. And I know that because I have a nephew who was born on January 29th. Um, so it's, I don't know what happens in Kansas Day, but if you're in Kansas, happy Kansas Day. I don't know what you're going to do today, but you can share what fun things you might do, right? So different ideas, a self-care shopping list, take what you need. Again, bingo, filling your cup, um, social check-in, um, right? So text, call, and face to face, what they're going to do there. Intentions, chores, mind, body, heart bingo, lots of different ideas. And then the I am loving is just something that you are going to, that you've been loving, that you're enjoying, right? So you can see some people said, I'm loving simplifying. I'm loving rest, recharge, and refill my cup, discovering my creativity, the confidence I'm feeling. I usually try to write if there's a podcast or if there's a book or if there's a show, movie that I'm watching. So we've been watching, there's a new series on MGM Plus that is American Classic. And it's only 3 episodes in. There'll be a new episode tonight, and it's only 30 minutes. I love a series that's only 30-minute episodes. That makes me very happy. And this one's really cute. It's got Kevin Kline and Laura Linney, who I really enjoy both of them. And it's been really fun. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, I highly recommend checking out. If you have MGM Plus, I know the whole streaming services and all that kind of stuff can get a little crazy. So I will let you work on that as we kind of wrap things up. We're coming to close to the end of our time, but I will let you work on that. Let me know what you're going to put in some of these things, how you're maybe going to repurpose, what you're going to keep track of, and then we'll check back in and we'll wrap things up. Okay, so hopefully you've got that side B, the B side, all filled out how you want, ideas for what you want to do. I saw lots of folks with some different ideas in the chat, different things to kind of think about what you want to set up there. And I know for some folks getting into the Fable app, I know some people are working. Oh, good. I don't know what I don't know the Fable app at all. So I just know that a lot of people have been able to work with the one link. There's another link I can use where it talks about giving $5, getting $5, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm paying for in there. So hopefully you can all get in and have fun with the book. Like I said, we're just a week in. You can go ahead and start talking about that book. We'll probably do a book poll for our next book here in a couple weeks, just to kind of see what folks are wanting to do. So hopefully things are going to be all set up for your week. Feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to go see how cold it is outside still. And share your weekly planner if you feel comfortable doing that in the Sonder Club app. You can see all of those examples we got from our fabulous Sonder fam who were willing to share in the Sonder Club app. So we love to be able to share those real, I call them HI, human intelligence created, not the AI kinds of things, right? I like to be able to share that. So we are so happy you were able to spend a little bit of time with us here this morning, feeling good about that link all that your time all set up here for that week. It's week 12. Crazy. I'm going so fast. So Bailey will be dropping lots of links in the chat about if you don't have the app, she'll drop that in there. If you want to sign up for other events, you can sign up in there. I will pop in a link for my Spotify playlist that's kind of all over the place, but I have lots of different things in there so that you can see that. And we hope everyone has a fabulous rest of your day, and we will see you again soon. Take care, everyone.